Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to New Game Who Dis? It's time for another episode of the nation's favorite stream where we try new role-playing games. That's right, New Game Who Dis. Tonight we feature episode 2 of Twilight 2000, and I could not be more excited. It's in my voice. It's keeping my children awake. That is how into this game I am, and how excited I am about my cast for tonight. For this whole 3-episode run, I'm so excited to be playing once again with Ross, Kate, Grant, and Skid. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you all had a good week. Last week, we created characters for Twilight 2000. Twilight 2000 role-playing in the World War III that never was, an alternate future role-playing game. An alternate history role-playing game where we're all so far having a fantastic time and can't wait to delve into it more. But there's one more important question on the tip of our lips tonight as we get started into this stream, get back into the depths of this game. And that's something we were trying to figure out right before we went live. And the question is looking at Ross's combination of the combo jacket, the glasses, and the neon lights. The question is he or is he not high right now? That's what we're trying to figure out. Ross, explain yourself.
Fun game for the people at home to find out just how twisted I might be.
How twisted is Ross?
This could be a weekly segment.
Right.
Like, how high is Ross?
The Rossometer.
Poll in the chat.
Yeah, sound off in the chat. If anybody knows me, they know I love to sample drugs and smoke them and pop them. I love it all. I love it all, folks.
I love to smoke them.
I love to smoke them, etc. The other ways you do them, I do them all. So this is your stoner in residence, Ross, saying you can't stop here. This is bad country. So.
I do really appreciate the camo jacket, Ross. You're making a real effort here at the cosplay, which I appreciate. Some of us dabble in it. We do it here and there. We've never fully committed as a network to the cosplay. And I can see tonight you also haven't fully committed, but you're just kind of phoning it in. But yeah. I do appreciate that.
I'm a man of half measures, Joe. So I've given you just about this much commitment to the cosplay, which to be fair this is the most cosplay I think I've ever done on any stream. So you're welcome.
It leaves them thinking, is he trying?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Can't tell.
Intentional. I feel bad for him. No one say anything. He seems to be having a good time.
He's probably high.
He doesn't know where he is.
Welcome back, Skid. Good buddy. It is so good to be playing this with you. This game that you were originally playing as a child. In the 80s. Mm-hmm. And now you've gone through this character creation process that we've seen Free League release in this 4th edition. As far as I know, this life path system wasn't part of the older game. So what was your thoughts on the life path system, the character creation last week? What did you think?
Well, first of all, I'm a little shamed by Ross's cosplay. I'm normally the guy who brings a costume. I don't have a costume for this. I spent all my time this week buying a costume for Get in the Trunk, which I just realized today is not on video. I spent $150 on a costume that will never be seen.
Oh, devastating news for the nation.
So that worked out.
Hey, Skid, the 150 is worth it just for my reaction.
I know. I will wear it for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kate will be there. Kate will be there.
Kate will get to see it.
I think people will be able to hear the nuance.
I mean, it'll help me, I think, get into character maybe. I have such a clear idea of this person that I wanted to... Anyway.
Can I get all geared up with like my camera and the biggest lens I have, and we can go to the place where like couples get their engagement photos taken at the park nearby where we live all the time? Yes. I just have you like crawling through the bush and terrifying them. This sounds like a great weekend.
Oh yes, actually this could work out better than I hoped. So yeah, good. Okay.
This sounds like Instagram content to me. So I'm all in.
I can't remember the mechanics of the original game very well. I know they weren't very popular. I don't think there was a life path thing. I love the life path method. Like we talked about Traveler, and which is also coming up. I can't wait for that. Yeah, I love the idea. I got so excited about my character and everyone else's character the day after we recorded. It was all I could think about all day.
Me too, dude. Me too.
I'm so psyched about this.
Yeah, I woke up. I'm such a geek. I woke up the next morning and I was just like going through everybody's name and their schooling history. And
Yeah.
And so right after that, I went to that weekend. I went to a block party in my new like neighborhood, and it wasn't my block. It was like the next block over. But we got an invite, so like let the kids meet people and stuff. So I met some people, and the whole time I'm talking to them, I'm like, I can't talk to any of you about what I really want to talk about, which is the people my friends made up the other night when we were playing make believe.
It sounds like so much madness when I try to tell you.
But it's so cool and so fun. And one of the ones I'm most excited about is the fucking sniper, dude. Please welcome back the sniper himself, Mr. Grant Berger. Of course you're a sniper. Of course you are.
I didn't choose this life. The dice chose it for me, Joe. And that's why I'm so excited. I'm excited even tonight, and we'll get into it. I don't want to jump ahead, but I'm excited to see if I can randomize even more of my character.
Ooh.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
You're springing this on me. This is tricky. Okay. I'm excited.
If you're not up to the task, Joe.
No,
let them know now.
Well, look, that's what we're doing tonight. I mean, this is like, we are, once I got Ross on the show, I was like, okay, now I can really just do no prep and just improv the whole damn thing. And that's really what we're doing tonight. We're doing a lot of improv tonight, and it could be garbage, but it could also be
like any improvised show.
Like any improvised show. Ross has experience at Second City in Chicago, and then he currently works for the Improvised Shakespeare Company. So just an excellent improv artist. And I got to say, Ross, I went to a lot of improv in my 20s in New York, and most of it was terrible. I'm talking about Upright Citizens Brigade too, like good, legitimate talent, but like, you never know when it's just gonna stink.
This is the fun tightrope act of improv. Is on any given night you can see the most transcendent, cool thing you've ever seen, or you can see something that makes you want to gouge your eyes out. but tonight's gonna be the former, baby, because it cannot, because I'm high as a kite, and it's gonna get weird.
Because I'm flying high, baby. When it comes to military and deep war improv, the first person I think of is Kate Stammes. Her deep love for war has always come out in our conversations. And
she was Soldier of Fortune's Woman of the Year 2 years ago.
Yes,
I remember that.
Right.
Yes. So it was surprising to me earlier when we were doing sound checks when she asked, "What is a Humvee?"
I was like, I have a Humvee, right?
Yeah, that's right. You put the accentuation on the last syllable.
I'm like Googling it, trying to find a picture, spelling it like Humvee.
What is a Jeep? I don't understand. It's a nonsense word. Doesn't mean anything.
Kate, your in all seriousness, your commitment to jumping in and just getting dirty with whatever garbage we're into is awesome, and already, I gotta be honest, the kickoff of tonight's session is going to be your character. That's the kickoff. Is who is this intelligence agent that we're going to be running into here? What is she doing in a Humvee in the middle of Poland? And versus what is she going to say she's doing in a Humvee in the middle of Poland? Two very, very different things. I want to get into it. I'm excited to get into it. But first, I want to try to get you guys into this game with some giveaways. Let's get some copies of Twilight 2000 out to you. Did you know it's not even out yet? I don't know. Maybe by this date you can get the PDF. I haven't checked, but the physical copies are a little delayed due to COVID and shipping, supply chain issues, all that kind of stuff. But they are trying to get it out by the end of this month. And if backers can get it by then, our giveaway winners can get it by then as well. So tonight we are going to give away a physical copy of the core set, which my understanding includes a player's manual, referee's manual, a bunch of tokens, maps, everything you need to jump in and play. And then we'll also give away digital copies as well. I think those digital copies can be available very soon. Brennan will let you know about that once we get the winners and everything. But the physical copy might take a month, but you'll be on the list and you will get it right alongside with / right after the backers. Look for the link in chat. Brennan's going to drop a link in chat. You click on that. It'll take you to where you got to go enter, ask you for some information, blah, blah, blah. And you can be in for a copy of the core set of Twilight 2000, which I've just been loving, and which we're gorgeous. It is. It's gorgeous, and it's chunky, and that's what I want to get into tonight. I want to kind of do a little bit of a disclaimer on the chunk of the game. Ross and I play in Blades in the Dark, which in and of itself is pretty chunky if you really delve into some of the mechanics, but it's very narrative based. Ross is appearing currently on our Wicked Empire show, our new D&D 5e show, which launched. You guys that know and love our Pathfinder content and now are watching maybe our D&D 5e content know that these are games that are based around battlefield tactics. It's all the math. It's all the crunchy little numbers and all the little things you can do tactically. This game, to me, it sort of strikes both. It's hitting both right now. The skills and the attributes are general enough that you can really push the narrative forward without a whole lot of rolling. You can wait till rolling matters and then roll in the narrative, kind of like Blades in the Dark or even Delta Green. But then once combat breaks out, and I don't know when or if combat will break out. It might be tonight. It might not be. We'll see what the players do. But when it does, if you play it by the book, it is every bit as chunky as Pathfinder skill. Would you agree with me in reading this? Like that, everything from the movement to the bullet counts to the coolness under fire. It is dense.
Yeah, I think maybe overall it's not as chunky as Pathfinder, but the combat for sure is. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to get that feed that urge or that desire to have really interesting tactical board game like precision in your tactical combat, this game has everything you need. I want to try to do everything right if it comes to that. I probably won't because we have to learn as we play. So bear with us, but just know that there's a lot in there and it's really, really interesting and fun to delve into. Does anybody have anything else before we jump in? Grant, you look like you wanted to say something, or are you just angry at how loud I'm talking into my mic?
No, I was actually looking at how cool we have some artwork for like the physical set, and I'm going to put it up on screen again, just like the map laid out, and it has like the big map we're playing on there, and then some like little layouts with little bunkers and towns and the dice and the token and the referees and the players. I don't know. I was just geeking out on that. I always like everything we end up seeing, but I'm excited for that to come out, and I'd like to play with it in person, lay it out on a table. That's it.
I know. How awesome would that be? You know what? It's funny. It reminds me a little bit of not like the actual mechanics, but like just the feel of it as I'm looking at it and reading it and getting into it. It makes me feel like we're playing a narrative role-playing game combined with like Memoir 44 from Days of Wonder. Have any of you guys ever played that? It's sort of, it's basically like a World War II board game, but I think it's the same people that make, what's the super famous train game? We built the train tracks. I'm blanking on it, but Days of Wonder is the name of the publisher, and Memoir 44. It's like these scenarios, World War II scenarios. Somebody plays the Axis, somebody plays the Allies, and you have these hex-based maps. And there's like, here are the barricades. Here's where it's hard to get over there, and here's where you set up units here and everything. And this has a little bit of all of that, so it's really neat. And
yeah. I was going to say, it reminds me, my dad used to have the old, like, I think it was Mayfair was the old, like, World War II, like, war games, like Panzer Assault and stuff with the hex map. This takes me right back to that, just, like, poring over these little, like, cardboard unit chits and everything, and the terrain and everything. This is great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, if you get this core set, it is, I'm looking at some of this stuff literally right here. I've printed some of this stuff out. It is, I mean, This is a list in like 8-point font right here of just Soviet military vehicles, and like with like multiple stat lines for like a dozen different kinds of vehicle. There's a lot of really, really interesting stuff in there. So anyway, I'm excited about it. Excited to hop in and play.
Yeah.
Going back to last week. I don't want you guys to go into detail with your characters yet. I want you to talk about it as we sort of play. I want to have everybody, because we haven't even technically totally finished character creation. We'll do that as we start to get into the narrative here. We left off our, I would call them heroes. Let's call them our survivors. We left off our survivors in the dead of winter in Poland. They've made their way. 3 of them, Grant's character, Skid's character, and Ross's character, have made their way to Western Poland. And it's taken a very long time, I believe months, we could probably assume, because it's probably, I'm going to say that it is late December. I mean, it might even be right around Christmas time right now. And it's getting very cold. There is snow on the ground. The ground is hard and unforgiving, crusty. The river which runs by the ruined city that they are kind of holed up in right now is frozen, but they don't know how frozen. There seems to be some signs that it wouldn't be hard enough to simply walk across. The 3 of them have lasted this long and gotten this far as they try to make their way out of Poland, across the border. Maybe in Germany things are better, but no one knows. They've lost communication with their headquarters or their families if they're just civilians. They have been unable to raise their own regiments or divisions or their own HQ, anything like that, and now they're just kind of on their own. And how they came to be together, we don't really know. We'll sort of find out tonight as we play. But early this late December morning, as the sun rises, though we can't see it, behind the gray gloom of a snowy Eastern European cold, hard morning, the 3 of them huddle together, trying to keep each other warm, but without a fire because of how dangerous the area is around them. There's lots of armed people everywhere, and it's not just Soviets. There are marauders about, bandits. There are people taking advantage of this situation. Black market weapon sales are going off without any sort of regulation, government regulation, anything. And there's a real tension to every day, and not only in trying to dodge the bullets, but also in trying to get enough food to eat, enough water to drink, enough clothing to keep yourself warm. So as these 3 characters huddle together, I'm actually going to start this off a little bit accelerated, because this is essentially a glorified one-shot. So I'm going to put you guys in kind of a tough position right out of the gate, which is Ross, Skid, and Grant, as you reintroduce to me your character names so I can write them down. And remember, I want you each to give me a stamina roll for this sort of brutal overnight that you've spent in the cold, to see how it has affected your physical and mental state this early morning. So Ross, first, why don't we start with you? What's your character's name again?
My character's name is Krzysztof Jorski.
Krzysztof Jorski. Got it. Okay. And what did he roll? Now, do you know how to do the stamina roll? Do you remember?
If I believe so. So I have a D in stamina. So that means I roll a D6, correct?
Correct.
And I rolled a 5.
And you also roll the governing attribute.
Oh, great! Which is
which should be strength, I believe.
Strength, which is also a 6 for me. Okay, I roll a 5 and a 4.
Okay, got it. So that is a failure.
That's a failure because only a 6 is a success, right?
That is correct. And so your statistics are so low in that area because you are a Polish officer, right? So, and you're a scientist, a computer scientist, essentially.
I was into discrete mathematics before I joined the service, so yes, living rough off the land has not been my forte. And yeah, I think his waking up and is like literally, it's the thing where he's like literally like bending his fingers back into shape. It's like they won't move without him like kind of pressing on them and like just like trembling uncontrollably. I think Christoph is pretty slight. He's a lanky guy, and he's layered up for winter, but it's just not enough.
Our camera slowly pans to somebody a little bit more robust looking, a little thicker looking. Grant, tell us what this character looks like and tell us what you rolled. And your name.
In front of you is the pride of Tecumseh, Michigan, Sergeant Christopher Wozniak, formerly Detroit PD's star sniper. Woz, as his friends know him, has always put his life on the line for others because justice and attaining it is what the strong must do for the weak. You see him laid out on his belly, prone, with an M8A12 sniper rifle, which is not a sniper rifle designed to shoot people. No. This is a 50 cal anti-materiel rifle.
Wow. Oh my.
This is designed to disable
gracious.
like stationary tanks and planes. And he just has, like where they are standing right now, I think he's letting Christoph kind of warm his hands, and Skid's character will introduce himself in a minute, but he's just got his eyes on the horizon the whole time, and he's got like a little nest built up to hide the glint that might come from the sun in his scope, and he's just looking straight down.
How did he do on his stamina roll?
Oh, right. I withheld until you came to me.
So Ross was rolling 2 D6s. What were you rolling?
I have an A in strength, so that provides me with a 12, and I put a point into stamina, which gives me a D6. I rolled a 4 on the D6 and a 10 on the D12.
That's a crit. That's a crit success.
10 is 2 successes,
You're doing good.
which so you cannot get 2 successes with a D8 or a D6 in this game. You have to have an A or a B in a stat or attribute in order to even possibly get those multiple successes. So he's hey dude, he's from Detroit. He's been through these kind of winters before, man. And he's able to hold it down. And then camera pans past this sniper watching the horizon over to the east as it's starting to light up over to Skid's character. What do we see there?
You see a pretty bigger guy, stocky guy, maybe 6'1", pretty muscly guy, but drawn and sunken eyes. You see Major Denis Lézard from Marseille, and he is standing. And I think this is actually, I'm going to pitch this. This is actually Christmas Day. And so
Why not?
at our little camp, like wherever we've been, like Denis like got a little like a Charlie Brown little branch of a pine tree, and like stuck it in the ground and hung little like strips of, you know, those strips of that you pull off of a pack of cigarettes, little plastic strips.
Yeah, like
So he's
garland.
like, he's like hanging those like tinsel and like bottle caps with like wires like holding it on, and he's like sitting, he's just like huddled over it in his big NATO issued winter coat, and it's just kind of rocking back and forth, you know, trying to like breathe into his hands, like keep his fingers from freezing. Like you have to think how cold this winter is going to be. This would have to be one of the worst winters in recorded history, with all the nuclear explosions going off and everything. This is like sort of at least a partial nuclear winter. And, you know, winter in Central Europe is no picnic anyway, just ask Napoleon. So, you know, this is probably terrible winter. So that's what he's doing.
And what did he roll for his stamina?
A 3 and a 3 on a D10 and a D6.
Okay. A D10 and a D6. You need to get a 6 or higher for a success. 10 or higher is 2 successes. So, as Waz, the sniper, is watching the eastern horizon, he's keeping his warmth. Major Denis Lazare, despite his NATO-issued winter coat, is huddling over this tree. And what is he thinking about? What does Christmas mean to him?
Christmas is, he comes from a working class family. My father was from Algeria, and it was a very Algerian neighborhood where he's from in Marseille. But his mother, she loved Christmas, and it was always very important. We always we made sure that we had a nice meal, like on that day of we usually get a goose, something special. And it was one day we could count father coming home from his work at the docks and being there for us. It was always a pleasant, warm memory for him, his family.
So as he's thinking that by the tree, he's thinking of the table and the food and the smile on his father's face, and it is warming him, and you do actually start to feel warm despite this brutal cold.
That's just hypothermia setting in. That's the last stage before I die.
That's just the hypothermia setting in.
And I think, and if that's the case, I think Christoph is sitting next to a busted up, maybe a chair that they found that they're all huddled around, because a Polish tradition is to leave a empty chair on your Christmas meal for the deceased.
Oh, cool.
And Christoph knows a lot of people at this point who are no longer with us. And Christmas for him, of course, was maybe the day previous, because you would have celebrated at midnight the time before, but right now it's mostly just breathing into his hands, waiting for and watching the dance of the light on the bottle caps and things in this tree as the light shimmers through the ruined sky.
I'm sorry to say that both Christoph and Denis Lazare are experiencing the starts of hypothermia. So both of you take 1 hit point of damage and 1 stress point of damage.
Oof.
And until you spend a full shift in a warm setting, which is basically by a fire, and a shift is 10 to 12 hours, you're not going to be able to heal this damage. So you feel like you need to get warm soon, or every day you're going to have to make this roll, and you're going to just consistently lose hit points.
Brutal.
That's enormous, especially just proportionally, this versus other role-playing games we often play. I think I have the most hit points, and I have 6.
Yes.
So losing 1 is 20% or more.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So,
especially I think Denis is especially worried for Christoph, because he knows that he's not built for this.
Mm-hmm.
And
both literally and game-wise, because literally he seems frail, and game-wise he has 4 hit points, so he's down to 3.
Right. Yeah.
Imagine what that must feel like putting those numbers to feelings, as a human, just feeling like a quarter.
A quarter of your life.
Yeah.
Being frozen away.
And you're just seeing Christoph kind of rocking back and forth, trembling. His cheeks look a little blue, and you just are hearing just some under his breath Christmas carol.
At this moment, we now see right through the scope of a sniper rifle into the distance, over this beat up and unplowed road that runs along the outskirts of the city of Kalisz. If we want to go to the map, Grant, real quick, we can sort of show in the grander scheme of Poland where we find ourselves. There's sort of a bullseye target I've put on the map for where the party is. Each hex represents about 10 kilometers, 10 square kilometers, basically. And this is where you guys are sitting. You're in western Poland, about 90 kilometers west of Lodz, about 210 kilometers northwest of Krakow. And if it is your goal to get to the border, you're at least some 160 kilometers away. And how you're going to get there on foot, it looks legitimately like Krzysztof Jurski could be dead in 3 days.
And I think if I can,
something doesn't change.
I look up at Duny. I'm like, you should. I do not want it. You should think about going on.
No, I'm not going to leave you. Don't talk like that. If we have to build a fire, we'll risk it. We'll build a fire. I'm not going to let you die. Okay?
If anyone should build a fire, then it should be me to divert the attention from you while you go.
No, don't talk like that. Come on. Waz will come back with something. We'll find, he gets some food or something. Don't worry.
Yes, you never know what good fortune can be had out there. Perhaps you will find a supermarket still open.
There's good to be. It's good shopping this time of year. Maybe the stores are always not so busy today, huh? And he throws his arm like around Krzysztof and is just like shaking him. Put his big heavy arm in his coat over him, trying to keep him warm.
It's like rubbing his shoulders, rubbing his arms, rubbing his back, trying to keep his blood moving. And the whole time, Waz, like a statue, is watching the horizon. And that's when first Waz sees 2 lights coming up over the horizon, the headlights of a vehicle. And at the same time, Krzysztof and Denis, just a few seconds later, can hear the rumble, the unmistakable rumble of a motor vehicle. You guys hear them from time to time. Usually, your immediate reaction is to hide. When you hear a motor vehicle or if you hear an aircraft overhead, that is sort of the vibe of this world right now. It's just danger everywhere, and you can never trust anybody on the road, in the skies. You don't know who's who. It's very dangerous. You hear that sound of a motor vehicle. Waz, you see what looks like a military vehicle coming over the rise. Upon closer inspection and with your expertise, you can identify it immediately as a Humvee, and a U.S. military Humvee at that. It's riding right along towards you, and then the road naturally sort of pairs off away from you and starts to move towards the north. You're facing east right now. The road is curving toward the north, and it's a few hundred meters away. It will pass in the next few minutes, the car. What do you do?
I think the first thing he does is he takes a deep breath in and holds it super tight because the magnification on his sniper rifle is so high. The effective range on this sniper rifle is a mile away. So as soon as he sees it, he's trying to steady it and steady every piece of his body and start tracking the vehicle. So he probably is able to see very clearly U.S. markings on it and identify the vehicle as being potentially friendly. But he knows that anything goes in this battlefield.
Anybody could be driving it. Anyone could be driving it.
He also knows that typically, if someone were to drive this openly and this easily detectable,
with their lights on.
With their lights on. It would be like a group of people, maybe, like a little detachment from a larger group.
Armed squad.
So he's going to try to eyeball inside to see if it's a group of people or if it's one person, someone on the run, to try to get something. He's equipped with a weapon that if he hit if he took advantage of gravity drop and distance and everything, and he landed the bullet right on top of the engine, the car would flip and explode on the road as it was driving. So he's actually like very cool, calm, and collected about this entire thing. And
I would argue that because the lights are on, like the glare, when you try to look at that detail, like of that area, maybe it's not as detailed.
Oh, you mean like right over the hood? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or I'm saying, what I was thinking is like being able to see inside the windshield. And what Kate is saying is leading me to believe that maybe it's at a little bit of a disadvantage.
To be able to see what's going on inside.
To see how many people are inside of it. So again, you're talking about a mile out. So this is far away, and so you're holding your breath, you're zeroing in. Go ahead and give me a recon roll, and let's see if you can identify the amount of personnel you're looking at in this vehicle.
Cool.
So luckily I have a B in everything except for strength, which is an A. So I'm rolling a D10 on that, and I have I'm at least meagerly trained in recon, so I have a pretty good chance of making this. A 6 and a 6.
Dope.
2 successes.
Was.
You look through the windshield, and you can see that there's no one in the passenger seat and no one in the cab, like in the back of it. There's just a solo driver.
And I'm thinking about how intensely he's concentrating on this, and I'm also thinking about, Joe, how you concentrate on things, and how when you concentrate on things, you get laser focused on it, and you like shut out the world around you. I think Waz is different, and what makes him truly exceptional is he heard the entire conversation between Christoph and Denis as he's watching this, and he exhales as soon as he sees this one person. He says, Denis, Christoph, Christmas might have come a little bit later than expected, but we might have a present on the road. Get ready, I want to see what happens here. And he says, Humvee, 2 clicks out. Get ready.
And I think maybe we're in Kalisz, so we're in this ruined city. So I think maybe we've planned for this maybe happening, that we're near a possible ambush point. So like a street with like ruined buildings on both sides. And we've planned for this. It's just like if a vehicle comes by, it's like you go here on the other side of the street, and we'll jump them if we feel like we can take them. So it's like positions. So, and Denis just boom, like grabs Christoph and like pulls him up and like runs over to his position.
He's like stamping out his boots as he jogs over, and Christoph isn't packing tank destroying heat. He's like getting gloves back on the fingers and flexing, and the pistol is coming out, and crouching behind some ruined masonry and watching the road.
The car approaches. Kate, let's kick it to you. Suddenly we go inside of this vehicle. And who do we see driving this thing?
You see Savannah, and she's 31, probably, 31, 32 at this point. It looks like she had like maybe a bob, but they've been out in the elements for a while, so it's like grown out. It's kind of shaggy, kind of raggedy. She has it pulled back. So she's got dark brown hair. She's like a heart-shaped face. Nothing terribly remarkable about her. Brown eyes. She's got like a button-up, like canvas shirt on, like those button-up shirts that people wear when they're like out in the military, and also like a vest, so you can see that. And you can't probably see her pants, but she's got like ratty jeans on, boots.
She looks like, to me, the way you describe her, like a reporter, on scene in during like the Gulf War.
It's like Nora Dunn's character in Three Kings.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Christian Amanpour, BBC World Service.
So she's got her eyes on the road. She's going forward. I don't think she sees any of you yet. Do you come out? Do anything?
I think if someone was going to make, if someone was going to make contact, I think it might be Christoph, knowing that he's well and truly covered by his compatriots. And I think it's the kind of thing where Christoph might glance over to Denis or Waz and just kind of give like a high sign, like shall I go, American?
Yeah. Then he like nods and like points. Yeah.
And Kristoff stands up from behind this wall and there's the crunch of gravel and stone under his boots as he walks down towards the street with his hand raised in a gesture of hailing.
So she sees Kristoff in the middle of the road, waving, and looking at his situation, seeing how maybe he looks a little ragged, and considering the other choice of if she just plows through you, that's going to start something.
And Kristoff is very much
Humvee.
he's very much put himself in front of this Humvee.
Because I could just plow through you.
Yeah, we were saying if you did at this moment, he would just shatter like the T-1000. He's so cold. He's just in front of you, putting his life on the line.
Considering all of that, considering the ruins around, she's gonna slow down.
Like, American.
She doesn't exit the vehicle. She rolls down the window and yells to you if you're holding a gun. Drop your gun.
I'm not. My pistol's holstered.
Who else is with you?
We have another American there, and is a man from France here.
You
An
hear,
American at
France. We mean
right as he says American, you hear an ear-piercing whistle. I can't do it right now, but it's the type of whistle you can hear above everything at a basketball game. And you can see like up at a higher elevation, my character kind of like covered in like this ghillie suit. Not quite a ghillie suit, but like a sheet. And he just goes, Sergeant Christopher Wozniak, U.S. Army. And he's just waiting for a response from you.
And Denny, like, he pulls the bolt back on his famous, like, French assault rifle. Says, Joyeux Noël, mon ami.
And I think Kristoff is now in de-escalation mode. It's like, please, there's no need to do this. We mean you no harm, but I cannot help but notice that you're going. I think, to the northwest. Yes.
I'm going west.
What a coincidence it is. We also are going west, and I see here a able-bodied driver with a vehicle built for more than just herself. Yes.
You do see that.
Yeah. I'm sure we could come to some sort of compromise or understanding.
What's gonna stop me from keeping on driving right now?
All due respect, ma'am, but this M82A1 will stop you from driving any further. All due respect, of course.
Please. I'm sure we do not need to resort to threats. I'm sure that our new friend perhaps feels even now in her heart a bit of the Christmas spirit. Yes?
I'm seeing him turning around, like talking up to the sniper, like,
Yeah.
okay,
No.
we don't need threats.
So, like, she knows Grant's character is up there with Sniper, the whole ghillie suit on, so she's kind of, like, concerned about that. The French guy cocking his shotgun, but then she sees this guy in front of him. She's like, let me pull off the road, or we'll all attract more attention.
Very wise. Please, and he's now switching almost like air traffic control hands. Please,
Yeah.
this way. Yeah.
So she pulls off the road, and I don't know. I guess. Do you guys come up to the car? Are you guys around it?
This is so tricky.
I think
this is always so tricky because, like, we know that, you're Kate, so our characters have to get together and join up at some point, but our characters have got to be freaked out, and they wouldn't take any chances, I feel like. So
I will also say this. I wanted to set a mood and in so doing, I may have overstepped a little bit the experiences of your last 3 to 4 months. You have been met with kindness along the way. You have met people with good in their hearts along the way.
Especially allies, like,
Yes,
NATO
exactly.
allies, like anybody would
NATO
be more
allies,
likely to.
civilians. I mean, you may have easily come across Soviet troops that were deserters. You know what I mean? That were just like trying to keep on their way and didn't want anything to do with you. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Now, caution, yes, is key, but it's not as if you are in wholly enemy territory right now. That's all.
Okay.
And I think Christoph is coming up to the Humvee and putting his hands on the hood, trying to get any radiant heat that might be still in this thing. Just like almost like pressing himself against it. Just like you do not
hugging
need
the
to worry.
car.
Yeah, like embracing this vehicle. Like you do not need to worry. Friends, yes.
Yeah. She's not worried about you.
No, of course not. Why would you be? Why would you be?
I didn't know.
exactly.
I
He's
saw
a
Grant
fragile.
go like this, so I wasn't sure if Grant was going to say something.
Skid found it. Yeah, he found the T-1000.
Exactly. That's what he is at this moment.
Grant, you look like you wanted to say something. Did you have
Gentle.
something there?
Yes, you got something?
I didn't want to interrupt the amazing roleplay, and I realized I would, like in the middle of it that I was interrupting it. So I wanted to Google how to turn back time. If I could, I just wanted to share that moment if I could. I was just saying that there was no like real threat. Like Waz is such a matter of fact, by the numbers, like calculated type of person. He answered that like with no whether you could tell that or not. And his attempt at saying like U.S. Army was like trying to like find friends in the field, and hopefully thinking that you would be too, that we'd have some sort of sympathies in this hopeless place.
Yeah. And does this person that I see in the Humvee, because I'm as the closest one, is there any insignia, rank, name, anything
No.
on any of your stuff?
No, like I think Joe said before, like she's in sort of like, she looks like a reporter
Just fully
out in the field. Like she's got
an
a vest
embedded
on,
fucking spook.
a shirt, pants, a little disheveled.
Dude, she's
Mysterious.
a full-blown CIA operator, but you don't know that. You don't know that, you know?
So yeah, if you guys are all coming up to where she parked off-road, I guess she'll get out. She'll have her gun like strapped around her. Like, hey, Merry Christmas. Am I right?
Yes, Merry Christmas is... yes, of course, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown, yes?
Charlie Brown, Yankee Doodle,
Thank you.
Mickey Mouse.
But, bah humbug, hey boy, what day is today, yes?
Hey boy, what day is today?
So I'm assuming you risked your life, stopped me because you want a ride.
Not to be crass, but you are going west, we are going west, and the inside of your vehicle looks a bit more inviting than the road. Perhaps
For
we could
sure.
come to there is something we could trade or help you with.
I think so. I don't know if you just like have this around where your camp is, but I know from character creation, you guys have like fuel.
I was
So
just
don't know
about to
if,
say, yeah.
Yeah, wherever she pulled off, if she sees that stockpile or not.
No.
Okay.
Denis was just about to like say, like he like takes his finger off of the trigger of the FAMAS and like holds it like just by the barrel with his hands up, and he's just like, Mademoiselle, please, if while we speak, if you could let my friend here just sit in the heat for a little bit. As you can see, he's not handling it very well, and I think that we have no one has to hurt anyone here today. I think we have something. We both can help each other. I think we have access to. We have some fuel. That is the one thing that we have right now, and that I think maybe you need it. Yes.
Yeah.
I have fuel. We have fuel is worthless to us without a vehicle. Your vehicle is worthless without fuel. Perhaps we can come to a agreement.
I think we can definitely come to an agreement if you have fuel. I guess there's no point in all of us being out here. So like when you say like, can he sit inside? She hears you say fuel. I mean, like if he needs to right now, like he can. I'm just gonna say. You're allowed to go inside. I'm not going to turn the car on while I'm not in it, but go ahead. It's like residual heat. Sit in the back. Sure, it's better than whatever is happening to you right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. See, we trade, we provide, we exchange. Free market economy, huh? And pop open the door, and I'm hopping in, and like I'm just and you can see him just basking in the still chilly ambient heat of the inside of this Humvee.
What a relief that must feel for
It's
you.
a sauna to him.
Yeah, like after like Lord knows how many weeks of like being frozen to the core, like being able to sit in the heated.
They say in the rule book that you could, as much if you didn't have the proper protections and all that stuff, you could as much as be rolling hypothermia rolls every day in the fall in Poland, in the late fall, and as it crosses over into winter, it's every shift, every 5 to 10 hours. You need to make these checks. So right now I'm doing it every day because it's December. It's not January, February quite yet, which is the deepest and coldest of the season, but. Yeah, it's so this might have been creeping up on you for a long time into your bones before it really started to sap your life energy right out from under you.
Yeah.
So I guess the question, I mean, do you guys want to know who she is or like what she's doing there? Especially, I guess, Grant, you, because she's speaking with an American accent.
I think
we introduce ourselves, I guess, first. Like,
yeah.
Pleasantries. I guess I'll go first. My name's Savannah. You all stop me. I'm American.
Hello, Savannah. Savannah. My name is
They're all
Tiger.
talking over each other, trying to like.
yes, no. USA.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
So who are you? How'd you all get here?
Well, I don't want to. Perhaps, Christoph, you always tell it so much better than we do.
Well, that is much like it's much like we find you. You know, we find each other, thrown together by circumstance. Yes, is sometimes even in these dark days, fortune smiles upon you. We do not need to belabor details, but we are a little model UN here, are we not? From 3 different worlds, but we come together because our own units have fallen apart. But we found each other, we help each other to get to the West. And if you would like to join us, we would be lucky to have you.
These are 2 of the bravest men I've ever had the pleasure of serving with. And they're survivors. They do what's right, but they keep themselves alive. Which I assume you also have in the field. What's your story? How'd you get this far all by yourself in that Humvee? Making all that noise.
Where are you from in America?
Well, I'm from Southern California, Encinitas, south of LA, north of.
Oh, yes.
Is it San Diego?
Hollywood. Yes.
Yeah, south.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
No, not really.
The Dream Factory.
Dream Factory. Disneyland. He is from Detroit. This was here. It's from Detroit. It is close, yes?
She looks at you.
It's a long drive, Denis. It's a long drive.
But how long could it be? Same country?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm from Encinitas area in California, Southern California. I'm here. I'm a wartime photographer. So I was here with like a unit.
You have the eye of an artist, yes?
Yes. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, when everything fell, immediately, while it was still hot, sold all my gear. I was with my crew for a while, but we had different goals. I wanted to get out of here. I want to head west. They wanted to stay and keep fighting because couldn't tell you why, but
Oh. So you want to be the next Robert Capa? You want to get famous off of the misery of other people? Well, we can show you misery. We've seen quite
it's
a lot
really
of
not
it.
about that. Wartime photography?
Oh, well, why do you do it?
Well, to tell the story as it is on the ground, or else it can easily be manipulated.
And there is someone to tell the story too, yes? Have you heard from America? You send your picture back?
No. All of that film is gone, dead, wasted with the elements. And I also sold all of my gear to supply up.
Yes, I was thinking I do not see any camera around your vehicle.
Yeah, very sad. Very, very nice gear. It took me my whole career to get that gear to the level that I wanted it, and I had to sell it all.
Joe, can I'm inside the Humvee. This may be I don't know
but I think Denny gets in there too. Denny gets in the car too.
An investigation of some kind. I don't know what that would be. Is there something I could roll to determine like glean some information about
from what's in the Humvee?
around in there? Yeah.
Yeah. Do a recon roll. This would be like your search. It covers your searching and your
Great.
Do that for now. And then,
So I don't
I'll see if
have
there's
anything
something better.
in recon. So that would be I'd be
So you
rolling
would-
intelligence and a D4.
Nope, just intelligence.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So just okay. Here we go. I have high intelligence, so that's. I rolled a 12.
No.
Holy shit!
Man.
I'm a
Two successes.
My
Christoph
boy's
is all
wicked
brains,
smack.
no brawn.
So, I mean, I guess I'll describe what you see since it's my
Please,
car. So
Going full
you don't
Sherlock.
see any camera gear, any evidence of camera gear. You don't see, I don't know what you think you would see, but you don't see a tripod. You don't see film, lenses left over, a lens cap, anything like that. But looking around, you do see there's explosives. You see bow and arrow. You see a couple rounds.
And with the two successes, I'm going to add in that you see blood.
Well, no need
Roll
to.
with that, Kate.
And I think if the last thing that Christoph heard was something to the effect of, so you document people's misery, huh? It's like, it's like, please, I can tell we are in the presence of a true artist. So, no need to give you, as you say, the third degree. Investigator, chief, my badge and gun. A little weapon. But something tells me you are a good person to travel with, yes?
Sure. Yeah.
You are.
mean-
I think you're lucky you find us. You stuck here alone with no combat training. It
Yeah,
is
being
a
alone
miracle
isn't-
that you are alive still.
Being alone definitely isn't ideal out here, but it was better than staying. I had to
Yes.
take my chances.
Lucky
And
you found. Oh,
It's one of the reasons why I stopped. I mean, it's dangerous out here, but I do need a crew with me who
you have
might
found
know what
them.
they're doing. And she looks over at Grant's character.
Waz. Wozniak.
Waz.
Chris Wozniak.
Call me Waz.
She
It's
looks
your lucky
over
day.
and yeah.
and yes, and we're like, yes, you're very lucky to have found us. We're a strapping and a good crew to be around.
He pats his back. It's all right. It's all right.
So how were you guys able to stay alive for so long? Obviously, I know Waz here is keeping you all safe. Maybe also our French friend here, but what do you do? She looks at Kristoff.
The knee just goes dead quiet.
I have been able to track some of the positions of the units around us. And he pats his back, and you can maybe see a radio on him. And there are other operators in the area. Not all of them so friendly. Yeah. And you know, I can't help it. You do not have a computer?
No.
Well,
But
if we
it's
were
good that
to
you have
find
a
one.
radio.
Yeah. If we were to find one, then perhaps I could get our position out to someone more friendly. And of course, it's good to have someone who speaks the local languages.
Yeah. I'm thinking with your radio, we can maybe stay off the road a little bit better and be smarter about it. Because obviously, you stopped me. Being on the road isn't very smart.
And as you said, like, be safer about it, Kate. You're looking across at Waz, and your eyes scan up to the higher floors of this ruined building on the edge of the road, where they sort of had this like ambush point going, and they kind of like came out and spoke to you, and you pulled off to the side. And as your eyes rise up, you see against the gray clouds the silhouettes of multiple heads about 4 or 5 stories up in this broken building start peeking over the edge, and they're just sort of like looking down at you. And it looks like a mix. It looks like a family almost, like civilians just sort of like peeking over and looking down at you. You feel like you're being watched.
She immediately looks around and goes, "You know what? Why don't we get back on the road? I think we've all the juice, so we're all friendly here. Let's go."
If you guys hop in the car, I'll give you each a piece of information that you're kind of working with right now in terms of like what you've discovered recently. Ross, based on your recent listening to the radio, you said that you heard unfriendly operators around. That's true. You heard Soviet communications. You were able to pick some up that were like randomly caught on your radio. Do you speak Russian?
Now that was never specified because I just have linguistics, but I think with all the emphasis we placed on that during character creation, I think it's safe to say that I do.
Yeah,
I think,
you absolutely would.
I think Christoph is like tri or quadlingual.
Yeah, that's totally fine. You're a college-educated, affluent Pole in the 80s with linguistics as a specialty.
100%.
He would definitely speak English. He would definitely speak French, and I think it's safe to say he would definitely speak Russian, and maybe 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say too. So go ahead and give me a command roll.
Great. Here we go.
This is going to be used, again, there's only 12 skills, so they're used pretty flexibly. In this case, this is going to be used to see if you could understand some semblance of communication between multiple Soviet unions that you're picking, Soviet units that you're picking up scraps of.
There's more than one Soviet Union? Damn. We're in more trouble than
Soviet unions. Oh no.
They're multiplying. My God. I rolled a 1 and an 8.
Oh. Okay. So you haven't said anything yet to Kate, but to Savannah, but you would have shared this with your eyes, which is one of the things you're frightened about is there are Soviet units in the area. You know because you picked up these radio communications that said that they were organizing for some sort of push into some sort of important stronghold is the term that they used. You don't know exactly what they're talking about. You don't know how far away they are or what it is, but you know that they're discussing it, and it sounds like they're like a ragtag group. You know what I mean? Like randos that are communicating with each other, trying to organize some sort of ad hoc offensive, guerrilla offensive against some stronghold. And no name is being used. At the same time, so that's when you say, I've heard operators and not so friendly in the area. That's what you're talking about.
Great.
Kate, what you know, and the reason you are driving in this direction is that northwest of Kalisz, you got information from somebody who you recently murdered, that there is one crossing over the Prozna north of Kalisz that was not bombed and destroyed in so far, that as far as they knew was still able to cross the river. So if you look at your map, you'll see that the river running to the west of Kalisz, that's the Prozna, I believe it's Prozna River, that there was a crossing of that to the north of Kalisz that was still intact. And so that is sort of where you were headed, and that it was a wide enough crossing that it wasn't like a random footbridge. It was an actual bridge that a vehicle could drive over.
Okay.
So that's what you know, and guys, that's what you know. Continue as you will.
Great. So yes, I think staying off the main roads would be to our benefit. If a stronghold is about to be attacked, then being away from former signs of civilization, I think would be the what to do. No?
Yes, totally. Let's get moving, though. I think we've been in this spot for long enough. She's getting in the car and trying to turn it on, and
we should
Christoph
move
is
quickly. Kristoff, quickly. He's trying to cut through like whatever linguistic thing. Like he thinks Kristoff's not picking up on her. Like we gotta leave type of thing. So he's just gonna cut straight through it.
And loquacious Christoph is like, yes, of course. I think maybe departure is the right. Okay.
This could be a long drive. All right, so she gets in the car and she turns it back on if it was off and starts to head back on the road.
But we got to like load up the fuel too. We got 65 liters of fuel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you know what? I like the idea. Again, we're playing a one shot. Even though at character creation you technically started with half a tank, I'm going to say that that's what was running low. So you had been on the road for maybe 60 kilometers before you got here, and you were running low and weren't sure where you were going to pick up your next fuel. Not saying you were fearful, because you could probably get it from anyone you wanted whenever you wanted, but you happened to stumble upon this group that had a bunch of liters of fuel for you. How many liters do you have, Skid? Do you remember?
65.
65. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, the capacity of your Humvee is 95. So that's more than half of a tank, which will get you a decent way on at least from the map we're using. It should get you. For the viewers, for the listeners, 10 to 11-ish hexes you could probably move with that amount of fuel. Now, you can't always just move in a straight line, but 10 or 11 hexes.
I was thinking, too, I don't want to throw a curveball here. This is kind of late to be doing this. But I was thinking just now, one of the early setting books for the original Twilight 2000 was The Free City of Krakow. And in the original fiction, in 1999, the city of Krakow, which is pretty far south, it's like way out of our way, but it declared autonomy from the rest of Poland. Mm-hmm. And it was spared a lot of the worst of the war after that point. And so it's sort of like a Casablanca of like just a kind of a free-for-all, just like a den of scum and villainy, but like mostly intact, and a place where you can get like a big, like bustling black market. You can get whatever you want. So I was thinking that maybe that would be like a first objective to get to. If we want to get out of Poland, like maybe that could be a stop that we would make along the way, but it's out of our way. So I don't know if you guys would want to do that.
Maybe, let me think.
Let me add another piece here that, Kate, you would know. Let's say you made a suggestion like this, Skid, in character, as you start driving. Kate, I would also say that you know, because of your contacts, that there is reason to believe that there is a heavily U.S. military-dominated resistance sort of slowly forming again. This is rumors in Poznan, which is to the northwest. So it's not straight west of you, but it's to the northwest. If you see Poznan on the map, you heard a rumor that there is a colonel, a U.S. colonel, that is reconstructing patches of NATO forces for some sort of, revamp. Now, to me, it kind of sounds like your guys' goal is not to rearm and go fight the Soviets. It sounds like you're all trying to get out, which is fine. That may pose more complications than good. You might be able to get your supplies, but it's also possible that somebody like Waz is just like
sent to the front.
Sent right back into, the army hierarchy. So do with that information what you will, but that's another sort of goal option that could be out there.
Yeah, I think Denis says, brings up that, because there's a rumor too, like Krakow says, I heard that the city of Krakow there is people there is anything can be had for trade. But we've heard, looks at the other two guys, it says, we've heard a few rumors, people live on the road have told us that there is some semblance of civilization there, and we won't have enough. We hope to trade maybe the fuel, but we won't. It's not an option now. But perhaps.
Do not like to be going deeper into the interior. I mean, and this is, I'm just riffing here, but what about if you speak of free cities? What about Danzig? If we go to the north. Straight to the north, perhaps there, on the Baltic, there could be passage off to. We could go north to Scandinavia or into Germany from Danzig.
Maybe is our ships still intact? I don't know. The Baltic is going to be more wrecks than floating ships, but
especially this time of year. But.
As cold as it is, we might be able to walk across the Baltic right to Helsinki.
I gotta say, I'm not loving how we all agreed we're going west, and that's how you flagged me down. And now we're changing where we're going.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
she says that. She says that.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think I'd prefer to keep moving west.
I know you are
also,
eager to get back to Anaheim and Hollywood and all this, but I'm just saying there are perhaps other options.
Also, I think right now we should focus on getting that fuel into the car and getting out. And maybe
he's saying this while he's pouring the fuel into the tank.
I feel like me and Waz are kind of just looking up at the area up there, getting ready to aim if we need to.
Yeah.
And by the way, while he's pouring the gas into the tank, he's got a lit cigarette in his mouth.
Of course, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to give some people perspective on Skid's recommendation. The Krakow possible route is your refueled Humvee would get you about halfway there, and that's to the southeast. So you're sort of moving away from the west, but the idea is we go away from the west in order to get definitely all we need to make the final push west, but you're closer to the west right now with limited resources. It's an interesting conundrum, but it's a decision you guys got to make. I just urge you to make it quickly, one way or the other, and there's no wrong answer.
It's more nostalgia on my part, just remembering those early games from when I was a kid. That's Krakow. Is there's a whole basically module that took place in the free city of Krakow when I was a kid that I never actually played. So I mean,
you are Americans, yes? Let us put it to a vote.
We do love voting.
That's true. Well, we could. We are like a central committee. Yes.
That sounds like communism.
Either way, we decide.
Or we could do like Politburo. We could all say our piece. We could all contribute, and then the party apparatchiks will make the decision for us. So it's not like that in America, right? Voting always matters.
Always and forever.
If it's still around, which I'm hoping it is.
Yes.
I will say, from what I know of the map, I'm nervous about having to cross back over rivers that we can't cross over. It looks like there's some rougher terrain just outside the city, which means we'd have to ride on the road. It might be safer towards the southeast than it is going northwest, like you said. I don't know if you said this, that you heard on the radio. Forces might be mobilizing.
The one thing you know, and I'm assuming you share that, Ross.
Yeah. All I know is that it is a stronghold. I do not have a specific
there are
location
Soviets
for
in the
attack.
immediate area, somewhere within radio distance, and the radio distance is not that large right now. So
They are massing nearby. It is maybe only a few kilometers nearby.
I would also say, and then we can do whatever, if we're all not completely confident to keep going west, northwest through this, then I don't want to. If anyone's having any doubt and not confident about being able to handle whatever we come across, we shouldn't do it. We should go back.
Well, I'm confident we've managed to survive this long, but I'm worried about you. I mean,
Me?
you are... Yes, I mean, you are a reporter, yes?
War photographer, but
Reporter.
I mean, I've managed so far, but again, like if we're not confident of going forward, I will agree with all of you. We can go back to that main city.
As
I would prefer to go west. Oh, excuse me.
as Denis is questioning Savannah's ability to take care of themselves out on the battlefield, so Waz goes in for a half-hearted, like, over-shoulder grab judo throw thing to see how she responds, just to see her cat-like reflexes.
wow, pushing the action.
So like you go over and reach over and she's immediately like
Yeah.
not even thinking about it. Her body just reacts like very get you out of the way. And she doesn't really think anything of it. Like that could just be normal self-defense being a woman like out in war zones. Of course she knows self-defense. She's not worried about you.
But you do it like so crazy good. We're like, whoa, what the fuck?
It's
And
just a
then she puts you in
blur.
a blood choke.
Yeah,
No,
like
she
before you
doesn't.
know, you're like around the front of her and being choked out.
I think she can take care of herself, Denis.
Alright,
I think,
sorry. I guess, okay.
You see, Mr. Wozniak, you are in, how you say, good hands.
Strong hand.
Please,
Can you let go?
please to take your good hands off of my friend.
Please ask that you take your good hands off of my friend.
It's alright, please. I didn't realize Associated Press was so dangerous.
But
Please let my friend go.
He's thinking to himself, she's had U.S. Army training. I can feel it. I can feel it from the way she responded, but he's not going to say anything right now.
Yeah, she's very much like, sorry, but, you know, tensions are a little high. Just met you guys. I have self-defense training as a woman out here all alone. Really
Naish.
playing that up.
Yes, of course. and we
Just
should
a
not be
woman out
taking
here
her.
all alone.
Just an artist woman out here
Just
all
an
alone.
artist woman. You've heard of an artist woman.
She's an artist woman.
Of course, we should not be taking liberties.
that's exactly what she wears. Yes, exactly.
It's the
You said the button
military
down Oxford and the
embed.
vest. I mean,
yeah.
Kate, did you watch Three Kings in preparation of this?
I didn't watch any movies.
Yeah.
Well, you nailed it. You nailed it.
We're not paying her
all
enough
right,
to watch a
Can we
movie.
please let's move forward with
let's go.
with the vote, with the very American vote.
Up to you
We go
guys.
to the west.
Kate,
the
what's your
bridge.
vote?
Savannah, if you guys aren't confident, if any one of you says don't go west, she's going to say, fine, let's go back to that city.
Grant?
Waz ears perked up at the idea of a colonel in that area towards the west, so he wants to go west. He thinks he might be able to reestablish communication with the chain of command.
I think, just remembering back from that source book, they describe Krakow as being like like El Dorado, like one of the 7 cities of gold, like back in the old American pre-colonial days. So it's like he's kind of like got that in his head. Like he's just like, it's Krakow to Denis, like is the land of milk and honey. But he sees that, you know, the vote of the company is against him. So he just is saying, all right, let's go find your American friends. It's okay.
Yes.
Krakow can wait.
He puts his cigarette in the gas tank.
Yeah.
All dead. Yeah. If I don't go to Krakow, no one can.
I have my volume all the way up on Discord.
Here's my dissenting opinion.
Oh my god. Good luck with your American friends. And then he just
The French know how to do violent revolution, that's for
Right.
sure.
That's right.
And I think Christoph just turns to me and is like, please, I grew up in Krakow. You're do not worry. You're not missing much. We are going to America. Huh?
Very good. All right.
Hollywood.
Yes. Land of a lethal weapon.
Yes.
Go.
Yes. Lethal weapon.
Back to the future.
Orange Julius, rollerblade. Come on, let's go.
I'm trying to
Levi's.
see how you guys all made it this far. Your morale is amazing.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like we have got anyone who would survive up to like December in this situation has got to be a crazy combination of lucky and good. And I think that we're both. Like we happen to be in a group of 3 whose skills complement each other very well. We happen to be like good at what we do, and we had to have been very lucky.
Yes. And I think that it really shows itself right here. Maybe not so much for Kate, but for the 3 of you. This is such a fortuitous meeting to be able to get into this car and drastically accelerate your movement in winter towards this location.
And we don't know it yet, but we're also incredibly lucky to meet Savannah.
Yeah.
Like not having only a glimmer of just a glimpse of how dangerous that she is as a person. Like this is we don't know it yet, but we're incredibly lucky to meet her.
Thanks to that role, I think Christoph has an inkling now that Savannah is just a death dealer. He's like trying to be extremely like.
Yeah, we've all got to be kind of
All
like
I did was be like, don't touch me, sir.
I know. Like, honestly, I think that Christoph in the Humvee has gotten it better than anyone else.
Yeah.
Even Grant, who got like strangled. Like, Christoph saw what was in there, and Ross, your reaction was perfect. It was just very like, okay, stop poking the bear, just smile and let's keep moving, because this person is very dangerous, but in a good way right now for us. So like, let's just keep moving.
A good person to have on our side.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let us go.
Yeah, because I think you have a really unique combination, Christoph, of being a science, a highly educated, scientific person who is also an officer in the army. So you're sort of familiar with maybe military grade weaponry, explosives, that kind of thing. And then also from a science perspective, you know the building of maybe bombs or something to some low degree. And so you can see that she's got all the makings of like ad hoc explosive creation in her vehicle. And she's just, be like, I'm from Southern California. You're like, there's
All of the
something else going
components
on
is
here.
quite the photography studio you have.
You might
here.
not know it or deduce it, maybe, but she built those. She made those explosives.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, not knowing that, like a mere war photographer wouldn't probably have the know-how or the wherewithal to even collect this kind of stuff. So just the fact that she has it, like, has to like make us raise an eyebrow, saying like, she's more than what she appears.
And the war photographer would either be, you'd have to be incredibly confident in your craft to throw homemade explosives in the back of a Humvee driving on unpaved roads and stuff. So we either think that she's incredibly lucky as a war photographer driving that this far without exploding, or incredibly skilled. And I'm leaning towards incredibly skilled.
So while we're deciding, she turns around. You guys done filling the tank?
Yes, that was the last of it.
So he drops a bunch of cans on the side of the road, and you guys head off.
I throw the cans in the back of the car.
Oh, you throw the cans in the back of the car. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
As you head off to the northwest. And Kate, I'm assuming you're moving towards this crossing you heard about.
Yeah, I think I need to stay on the road until at least after that bridge.
Okay. So As you continue on, you realize that the main road that so I'm going to move you 1 hex north out of Kalisz, and then as you see from the map here, there's a large road highway that you were on, and it also crosses the river at Kalisz. That is what the three of you guys were approaching and hoping was still there, and it was not. Not only was it blown out, but the river was also wider than it's ever been. And you know this, Ross. Like, Christoph was like, this is usually a much more controlled river in the middle. It goes right through the middle of the city, and now it was taken over most of the western side of the city, and it was basically impassable, and the bridge was out. So you start moving north out of the city, and then you have to take smaller roads, which are not visible here on the map, but you need to keep moving north another hex. And as you get there, you see to the west a what looks like some sort of fortress or fort of some kind, and perhaps Christoph is aware that this is a military installation, or was a military installation for the Polish army. And it is utterly destroyed, destroyed to an extent that is very evidently, especially for those of you with NBC, I can't remember who has that, by a nuclear attack, which also means that during the time you moved west here and were near here, you all were taking on residual radiation just from being in the area. So I need all of you, Kate, this is also for you, but from another area. I need all of you to roll a d6 and put that many permanent rads on your character sheet. This is just a narrative way of adding in what is basic in character creation, which is everyone starts with a d6 permanent rads on their character. Okay. What'd you get, Skid?
2.
Grant?
4, and I'm researching if NBC can take all of them away, because I don't want that many rads.
Nope, that's it, dude. There's nothing you can do about it. Those are your starting permanent rads as a character creation. You can get temporary rads from being exposed that can then be brought away. Basically, you get temporary rads, and I believe the mechanic is you roll a d6 each day, the day that you have it, and if you roll a 1 on the d6, it becomes permanent. If not, it'll go away if you're outside of that range.
We need iodine pills or something.
Yeah, it's so scary. What about you, Kate? What are your starting permanent rads?
Got a 1.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so she was not so exposed. And then what about Christoph?
Christoph also got a 1.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So despite the hypothermia, his body resisted the radiation rather well, which is good to hear. You see that this former fort is utterly destroyed, and it is in a crater. As you're driving by this, you're on this small road, and you see a crater that is now so deep, it has since filled with water and then frozen. There is snow all around the edges of it, and there are pieces of all kinds of pieces of building, vehicles, all kinds of stuff are just scattered everywhere about, and you see by the side of the road a body on the edge of the precipice, just depressed in the snow, just a little bit face down, human body just laying there, remains as you're driving by. Do you stop at all, or do you just keep driving by?
Do not stop. Definitely not.
Okay. It seemed like the wise thing to do, to go traipsing around in a radioactive site.
Yeah. As you keep driving, you, Christoph, look out the window, and as this body passes you by, you look a little further around the rim of this thing, and you see movement. Again, you're sort of slowly driving away from this, and you're not driving that. You're not going 60 miles an hour because these roads are heavily snow covered and ice covered. So you're moving at a slow pace. Exactly, and they're all kind of broken and jagged. You look in the distance and you see there are 2 or 3, maybe even people moving at the edge of the crater among these ruins. They seem to be like picking through things. There
are survivors or scavengers out there.
They don't know. It is not a very wise place to be scavenging. I know times are tough, but
You keep moving.
They are dead already.
And they fade off into the distance as you move another hex. You get
and
to a
Denis
place.
is thinking we don't have much food ourselves. So we're gonna be in the same position pretty soon if we don't find something to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Christoph is wondering about how much radiation the rations he have been exposed to.
Yeah.
This tastes warm, like radiation.
Spicy.
This tastes like that X-ray I got last year.
You keep driving up until you see the road turn on. It comes to a T intersection, and there's a road to the east and a road to the west. And you make a left to head west, and you see a sign that says Plezhnew.
Plezev.
Pleszew. How do you spell? How do you pronounce it?
Plezhev, probably.
Plezhev. Yeah, Plezhev, probably. You see a sign that says Plezhev, and a sort of rusty sign knocked over towards its side. You start driving this way, and as you begin approaching, you see against this is all the same day, but maybe it's been a couple hours of driving, 2-3 hours of driving, and you see in the distance what looks like this must be the crossing. It has a large sort of ramp up to a bridge that's wide enough for a Humvee to cross. You're still kind of maybe a mile out, so it's in the distance. But the more remarkable thing is across the river, where you see a rather large structure silhouetted against the sky just on the other side of the river that appears to be a castle, like a medieval castle.
Whoa.
Do you just continue to approach it? Go ahead, yeah, Russ.
Can I roll
Denis
intelligence?
looks at Christoph is like, what do you know what this is?
Can I roll intelligence to see if I know, or would I know just what the cultural history of this particular part of Poland?
Yeah, intelligence would be fine. I'm just wondering if any of your specialties would fit.
Yeah. Education, is that a specialty, or is that just like a background?
That's just a background. Your specialties are actually very specific. Linguistics was one. I can't remember what your other ones are right now, but no, let's do intelligence. Yeah.
So just one straight intelligence roll. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And that's a D12 for you, right?
Oh, I got lucky. 10.
Ooh,
Oh, nice.
Rolled a 10 on the D12.
You suspend your
2
summers
successes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just because I major in science.
Ross, and your education, your affluent nature, you've been here before. And you're actually, this is, not only is it a castle, it's an actual castle. It's about 700 years old, but it's been refurbished or reconstructed a couple times. And most recently, it was in the 1960s and basically converted into a museum. So it's a museum in this area that is sort of on the river's edge. It's a beautiful museum, and then around the castle, all on the western side, is a town that was built around it, and that town is hundreds and hundreds of years old. But the castle itself, while it once held some sort of local royalty, was turned into a museum. And you've been there, you've visited it, and I can only imagine you're actually really heartened to see that it was not bombed and was not destroyed during this thing, and may hold still some sort of cultural history of Poland there. You would know because of your double success that on the eastern side of it is a smaller portion of the town, but that bridge goes directly over and through the castle. It's sort of like that goes through the middle of the castle and then out the other side into the town, and there's a big courtyard in the middle of the castle and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like the city hall almost of this town, but it's been converted to a museum.
Okay.
The last you heard, yeah.
Right. For a moment I did not know where we are, but I was here as a boy. I did not want to come, but once we were here, it's a beautiful medieval castle. This bridge will take us right through. At least one.
Bless you, Savannah.
I'm glad to see that this is interesting you.
It's a sneeze.
Oh, sure.
I can't control it.
Poles have no cultural heritage. I've heard them all.
She is used to Hollywood, Christoph. Give her a break.
You know, even in the winter, there are allergies, you know?
No.
True.
Believe me, I suffer. But no, I understand. But, I'm curious to know who is occupying this stronghold now.
Well, if they are not friendly, if it sounds like could be a how do you say, a turkey shoot. We go through there and this thing.
Then,
Do you keep driving towards it, Kay? What is your driving instincts here?
I think that I would want to ask Waz, like, hey, you want to take out your scope and, like, take a look, see if you see anything?
Yeah, and I can look for like vantage points where we shouldn't drive along, where if I were a sniper in that building, like, oh, no,
Yeah.
then we're going to get killed from there. So I can kind of like take a look and also give like some backseat driving to Savannah.
Yeah, like, let me know if you think that
And
people
right
are
as I
living in
reach over
there.
her shoulder again with my hand to point somewhere, she breaks my wrist.
Why?
Okay. So you pull over.
Yeah, I think to pull over while we're far away and let me know if, like, yeah, you think people are holding up in there. Anything
Maybe
looks
about
off.
1,500 meters out, it's a kilometer and a half out of this place, and Waz gets out and you scope it.
I also have binoculars, but they're probably not as good as your scope.
Yeah, go ahead. Both of you go ahead, and you're both going to take a -1 on the roll for the distance and the fact that there is enough town on the eastern side that there's a lot of buildings sort of blocking the front of the bridge and the city. So a -1 to the roll means you lower the die, one of the two
skill.
Oh wow.
Which skill is it?
It's recon.
That's intelligence
So it'd be
recon.
intelligence
Okay.
recon, and so you can't lower below a 6. So if you have like a D10 and a D6, it needs to go to D8 and D6, for example.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't eliminate that D6 one. That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah. The larger one has to get downgraded first.
I love that.
So I'm downgrading my 10 to an 8. I did not succeed.
Of course he did. Of course, Sergeant Christopher Wozniak.
Waz gets a 6 and a 7, and he as he's looking through his scope, he with his other hand looks out his other eye and grabs Savannah's binoculars to point them in the right direction. That's how good he is.
Thank you.
Okay. You look across and you're able to see with this specificity of your scope that on the eastern side of the bridge, on your side, you see 2 armed guards that are standing at the edge of the bridge, just standing there holding assault rifles and just sort of like looking out at the broken and ruined town on the eastern side. I don't want to say broken and ruined as much as deserted, right? There's no movement, there's no traffic, there's no cars, just deserted eastern part of the town. They're standing there looking out at it, and they're just sort of like talking to each other on one side of that bridge. As you look across the other side of it, you see that there is a gate that would go into the castle, a big old school heavy iron gate, and it's down.
Down meaning it would prevent us from going through it at this moment. We would have to lift
Correct.
it in order to get through. Got it.
Denis
And
is
it's
asking,
like a big gate. Like you couldn't like lift it. You know what I mean? Like it's like conk, 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 like kind of big old medieval iron gate
Get the
on the other
catapult.
side.
Denis is asking how they're outfitted. Like, not that it necessarily means anything, but do they look like Eastern Bloc troops, Americans?
He starts to describe what he sees, and it's actually Christoph that pipes up and says, "This looks like, that sounds like the outfit, the bearing, the not insignia is not the right word, but it looks like they are national police, like Polish police forces, basically."
I have a feeling we won't get through there without paying. I don't know if we have anything.
We have little to tried. Do we have we heard any rumors about this area? Would we have any sort of hints as to what's going on here? Is there any way to figure that out?
I mean, the only piece of information I've got to go on is, would Christoph maybe intimate that this is the stronghold that he heard radio chatter about?
Presumably could be, I mean, it does look like a stronghold in that there's a gate, you know, it's like it's got a good fortified position. This could be it.
In that case, we may have something to trade, which is the intelligence of an imminent attack, potentially.
If they believe us.
If they believe.
Anyway, would you believe us? He's like pointing at all of our clothes and everything. Says, anyway, I don't like police.
I'm not sure we'll be able to find another bridge over this river. I'm not sure we have another choice.
Well, if we're trying to avoid any type of combat as we go over, I think our best ticket at getting across is Christoph over here. He's a real smooth talker.
Yes.
Well, I will do my best. We've come this far.
Good.
All right.
Use all your secret communist code words.
Yes, I'll do all our secret handshakes and.
By the way, so Christoph, so you just basically defected? Is that what happened?
I think in the months that you've been together, what you've gleaned is that Christoph was always fascinated with the West, and even though his parents were party officials, had considered defecting. And I think one read on him that I got was that he maybe got approached by NATO intelligence or something to
the CIA.
That was the reason he joined the military. Was like that he could just offer occasional intelligence dumps to CIA handlers that he maybe never even saw. Just put him in a ghost site and would leave
Amazing.
him. And it would be the thing where he'd drop off a schematic of a plane. And then 2 weeks later, he'd get a VHS cassette of
all of Designing Women box set.
Yeah.
Wow, you're like Matt Damon in The Departed. That's awesome.
Part of the reason that he joined and maintained a relationship with the military. So yeah, he was kind of like a pseudo defector.
That's cool. A fifth columnist.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. In that case, if you were doing that, which I didn't know you were doing that shit. You just sprung
what are we doing?
You just sprung that on me.
Dude,
he's working for the CIA, and you're CIA and don't even know, and he doesn't know. I love this so much. I'm having so much fun.
So fucking awesome. That's cool as hell.
I'm going to add another layer for you then. You earn this. You earn this with your role play. In these random communications that you had picked up, that you had heard about these sort of Soviet people talking back and forth about a possible push for some stronghold, quote unquote. One thing that you picked up on that was very subtle, and then their sort of commanding officer told him to shut up about it and not talk about it over the radio. You were able to pick up language based on your own experience that could easily mean that they talked about there being an inside asset on this job. That within the stronghold, there was somebody on the inside that was working with them as well.
there's a Soviet mole. All right, good to know.
Do you tell us that out loud? That's information we can trade?
I think that yes. Now that I know that, and if we're assuming that this is the stronghold, then that I've heard of, it's like we may have some valuable information for them after all.
Wow.
That might prove a little better of a bargaining chip, provided, of course, as Denise says, that they believe us.
Now she's looking at you, maybe like how you were looking at her when you saw the back of her car. She's kind of like, oh, so lucky we have you.
Yeah. It is like, you see, this is why we keep this skinny guy around, huh? There's more to him than you
So
see.
smart.
Yes,
we're
I
very
hate
lucky.
officers, but I like him.
Yes, it is amazing the skills that you will pick up at university or photography school.
Yeah. Wow. Did you go to art school also? You look like an artist.
Did you go
He's
to
a-
art school also? I love it. Oh my god.
Music was always my forte.
He's a rocker.
We do have the same brain.
And yeah, shall we keep moving on?
The circus, right? The
All right.
circus.
The circus.
We both
So-
trained in the circus.
Control.
All right, so
I'll drive us up there.
you're gonna drive up there. Okay, as you are driving up, the guards visibly from the distance, you know, maybe one of you grabs the binoculars as you're driving up. As you're driving up through this town, the guards visibly get perturbed, stop talking. Maybe one of them tosses down a cigarette. They move their position slightly. They raise their weapons. One talks to the other one, and the other one fires a shot over your car, like, you know, kind of
Great.
like a warning shot, basically. And yells out to you in Polish, which I'll be terrible, you know, just sort of like improving, but, you know, just a sleety prosnasnasnat or whatever. And they're saying, you know, they're yelling at you, stop, do not continue forward.
Great. Can I hop on that radio and see if I can find a comms channel that has Polish chatter on it that these guys might be on?
Do a tech roll.
Great. Why, that's finally my forte. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Technodrome. Here we go. Okay, I got a 6 and an 8.
Nice.
All right, so
Yes.
you're easing through the frequencies in the air. You guys, so you stop when the warning shot happens.
Yeah, and I put my hazards on and maybe have a hand out, yeah.
I love this so much. I want to make this movie so fucking bad.
so awesome.
I just
This is
wish I
so
could
cool.
make a movie, and I could. I had $1 billion. So we go back, just sort of, now that it shifts to just behind the guys, right? And they're both pointed down, and we see in the distance, your car then stops. And it's just sitting there, and all they see is just a car. They don't know who's in it. They don't know what's going on. Now we go back inside the car, into the back of the car, and you are, you know, you're going through these different frequencies, trying to pick up chatter. And with your 2 successes in tech, you're able to pick up, and you can almost match it to the look of one of the guards at the post, who is speaking into a communicator at his side, and is just like, and you hear, you know, a voice coming back over, and he's saying, we've got a vehicle approaching, U.S. military, and then a commander comes back over, you know, the radio, and is like, hold them there, do not let them cross. And he goes back over, you know, do we have clearance to fire? And then the voice comes back over, no, you are not to fire on anyone unless fired upon. And so you're hearing this back and forth very clear on your radio.
Can I break in on this channel and speak back?
Yes.
Great. And in Polish, I base vehicle requesting entry. First Lieutenant Krzysztof Ziorski on board American vehicle, requesting entry.
Step outside the vehicle. This is in Polish. This is all in Polish.
And I step out, hands raised.
Yes, we all step out, right?
Yeah,
Like That's what they want.
How many in the vehicle? So you all step out.
Yep. 4 total passengers.
Who are you? Why are you in a U.S. military vehicle? Vehicle.
I don't know. I'm like, oh, that's right.
It's a long story.
Yeah. I think he does say something to that effect of like, very long story. Traveling west.
I might like say off to the side, like, "Hey, tell them I'm private first class tourist. This is my group's. This is my team's vehicle. This is my vehicle."
Traveling with American private first class Torres, and I give Sergeant Christopher Wozniak and Denis Lazar of the French security forces.
You have to stay where you are currently and await orders. Do not move. Do you understand? Do not move. Do not get in the vehicle.
Understood, but we have intelligence pertinent and important to the safety of your operation.
Understood. Do not move.
10-4.
Ask him if we can wait in the car. It's still very cold.
They said not to get in the car.
Melt.
You're getting nothing, and as you speak to them, you're getting nothing back, and you get the sense that they've changed frequencies. They can hear that you're on this frequency. They move to their alternate, frequency, and there's a little bit of a back and forth. After a bit, just a few minutes, you see multiple armed people start walking over the bridge from the western side. The gate is still down, and they come all the way over to you and all the way, not to you, but all the way to the eastern side, and there's 5 of them, 5 additional, all armed, but 4 of them are sort of holding assault rifles. One of them is unarmed, sort of standing in the middle, and walks out and just starts walking along the street, away from the bridge, toward you, flanked by this guard. They walk along, and as they get closer, you notice the man is a little bit older, who is unarmed. You see a pistol at his side, and flanking him are these, 4 armed guards, 1 woman, 3 men, and they just start walking up to you. The guns are never raised. They're always pointed down, and you guys are all kind of like hands-free at the sides of your car. They stop when they're about maybe 10 meters from you and call out, across the cold air in Polish to you. The older man says, "Who are you? What are you doing here?"
Private First Class Krzysztof Zhorski. We're passing through. Through the area, we're coming through Pleshev en route west to the border. We only seek a safe passage.
How long have you been on the road?
We started out from Kalisz this morning.
And you are only Pole? All Americans?
American and French.
Tell him to step aside. Oh, actually, at this point, he'll change to English. He speaks English and he says, "You have to step away from the vehicle, and we will search the vehicle. Do not attempt to raise any weapons. Are we understood?"
I'm looking.
Okay.
Denis is just like, oh shit, there's fucking improvised explosives packed in there.
They start walking toward the car.
Oh no.
Oh God.
and he like lowers his hand and he's got his hand on his knife.
Can we say that we want to trade information if they like go light on us and let us pass?
Yes. We can certainly try.
So the guy who seems to be the leader, middle age, a little old, past middle age maybe, graying hair, hard face, and in the garb of the Polish police, is going to stop a few meters from the vehicle, and the men and woman go and all start looking in and searching the vehicle, and he's standing there behind, looking at all of you, pretty fearless. He looks across and says, "Anything?" to his men. And the woman calls back in Polish, "Explosives, bow and arrow, blood. It sounds like you have had an interesting trip. Who are you, and why do you wish to cross?"
I think everybody knows that it's hard to get around in these times. We're trying to get. What was the name of the town that you mentioned? That's further this way, where there's a gathering.
Poznan.
We're traveling on to Poznan.
Poznan is a long way away from here.
So this is why we wish to start early.
Okay.
We don't want trouble. All we want is to pass through. But I think we are knowing something that you would like to know.
Oh. And what is that?
May we move through?
I'm just going to go through the formality of an empathy roll here for him to, against your persuade.
Great.
And he is going to take I'm just going to lift the veil here. He's going to take a negative on the roll because he is predisposed to letting Poles and Americans cross, basically.
Okay.
What his hesitancy is like, are these Soviet spies? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
are these people dangerous? And that's what he's trying to avoid. So just lifting that veil. And in fact, you guys as characters wouldn't know. You don't even know where his allegiances lie. But I can tell you that right now he wants you to cross. And so with the negative, it's a pretty easy fail. And well, it's not a fail really because you're trying to persuade him. Sorry, you're not trying to lie to him or deceive him.
Should I make that persuade roll?
No, I don't think you need to, because I think that he is more so, he would rather not turn you away and have some sort of violence ensue right now. And you've not given him any indication that you're, prone to trying to attack right now. So he's just going to step back and say, okay, we can move across and discuss on the other side, on your way to Poznan. And, we can move it forward. So he'll let you get back in the Jeep. Of course, all of your explosives are confiscated and taken out of the car, along with the bow and arrow. And you are allowed to maintain your sidearms, but not your assault weapons. They're like, we're gonna carry all these things with you, but we're going to you can't have them on your person, sniper rifle included, Grant, because you're about to go into the castle. So the vehicle comes across and he calls, he calls up on the other side of this bridge, Zaknetnaya, whatever, and they just
Someone who's bilingual in Polish in the chat should really do a video of like gibberish English just to roast us really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh god.
Well, I'll say, does he speak any? He must speak some Polish too.
He knows
right?
he knows how to talk to his grandma who immigrated there, and like he's trying to keep quiet during these conversations and play dumb. Like people don't know what he's saying. It's that advantage he has.
Right.
But if it's a really complex conversation, he's just kind of like, I'll shoot him in the head later.
Right.
All right, so you guys are led across this bridge. He calls up for the bridge to rise, and we see the car and the four of you inside of it, and then all these fucking people and guards all disappearing into the gate as well. And as you head in, it's like, and this big gate closes behind you. You have crossed over the Prasna River to the west. However, you find yourself inside of a castle where you're about to trade information that there's possibly a Soviet spy in their midst, but you have no idea who you're confessing that information to or who else might be around. You have a CIA spy in your squad, along with a CIA asset that the CIA spy doesn't know in the group, along with some heavily trained close combat and ranged combat military personnel. And from what you've heard randomly on the radio, a possibility that a Soviet attack could be on the rise with a fucking inside player. It is a very, very difficult situation that I honestly have no interest in rushing you into right now. I think you guys need to do a lot of thinking before you talk or say anything to anyone else. So I'll give you a week, and we'll check it out next week.
It's like, you explaining all that makes it sound like a bad idea. Laying it all
Honestly,
out.
this is all pieced together from everything you guys were saying and afraid of and put other. I mean, this is just freaking awesome. Like, let's see what we can put together in a week about how you guys even get out of here, let alone continue west.
I knew we should have gone to Krakow.
Yeah,
I knew we should have gone to Krakow.
the land of El Dorado.
It's just utopia.
That was such a cool, just slow burn, mounting tension.
Yeah.
Very, very cool, man.
And now you're in a medieval castle in the middle of
the medieval castle. It's just
in the dead of
just a
winter.
museum.
And but you know what? You might get next to a warm fire tonight. So let's see. Let's see.
Oh boy.
Take off a point of hypothermia damage.
Exactly. Thank you guys so much for watching. You are the best.
Guys are
congratulations to our winners. We can't wait to ship that stuff out and have you play this game too. I'm having a blast. We can't wait for you to see the finale of Twilight 2000 next week right here. We'll see you guys in a week. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.